Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Salvador Panelo to discuss about the participation of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte during the summits or meetings today. Sec. Good afternoon, Sec.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready for any question coming from you.
How was the participation of the president during the state of favor he arrived the other night? And then is he set to still attend the remaining meetings tomorrow?
Yes, I think so. He is well. He has participated in every event.
So,
there is nothing wrong with him,
okay.
except for his travel weary.
Okay.
Except for that.
Sir, what do you think has this ASEAN meeting summit achieved for the Philippines this time?
Well, the way I see it, all the Asian countries have one thing in common. First, all of them want to unite against common enemies. And they are all in one to cooperate in the same concern. The common enemy, of course, is terrorism. And then the problem in the South China Sea. And with respect to the fear on the trade war, which has not, instead of getting better, I think it's getting worse. All of them are saying that they have to do something about it. And they are united. More particularly, I think, from what I observe, is that they're very concerned of what is happening in the South China Sea. That is why all countries have asked everyone to observe self-restraint, to avoid any activity that could lead to more friction and even armed hostilities between and among countries in the region.
But the ASEAN has given China until a timeline about 3 years for both parties to come up with a conclusive code of conduct within 3 years.
Well, it can be earlier, but most of them say that they're very appreciative that there's no first reading of the code of conduct. They want an effective and substantive code of conduct that will provide regional stability as well as peace.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Edith. Next question. Jen Kabiling of Manila Bulletin.
Hello, sir. Sir, did the President actually confront Chinese Premier Li Keqiang about China's incursions into the West Philippine Sea? Did he ask China to stop their activities in this
During the... No. No.
Did he raise the arbiter ruling during the ASEAN-China summit?
No. What he said was the usual policy that the President has been saying all along, that every country must be rules-based, meaning we will have to respect international law. We will have to respect the UNCLOS. We cannot be forcing others to succumb to another country's power. In other words, we should be treating each other equally and fairly.
Sir, what was the reaction of the Chinese Premier to the President's call to practice self-restraint in the disputed region?
Well, I think the Chinese Premier is in accord. He gives the same rules-based recognition of international law.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny Vaughan of Agence France Presse.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give us any update on how the RCEP negotiations are
How
going?
do I what?
RCEP negotiations, do you have any insight on what are some of the sticking points, or which members are still have outstanding concerns?
With respect to?
The RCEP trade negotiations for the RCEP deal?
No, I'm not privy to that.
Okay.
Okay. Next question. Sir, please state your name.
Yes, my name is Pimuk. I'm working for Radio Free Asia. Tomorrow you're going to meet the U.S. counterpart. What do you have to say about the South China Sea?
How's
What,
it again? I can't hear you.
tomorrow you are going to meet the U.S. counterpart, and do you have anything specific to talk to the U.S. tomorrow during the ASEAN-U.S. Summit?
What do we expect?
Yeah, what do you expect to talk to, as far as the South China Sea is concerned?
I do not know the agenda, but I suppose we will be sticking to our policy, our position, that we will not be a pawn to any powerful country. We will stick to our policy that part of the region, specifically the areas where the arbitral ruling said ours, will remain ours, regardless of whatever they do.
Okay. Next question. Philip of Bloomberg.
Good afternoon to you.
Hi.
Do you think you could elaborate a little bit about the actual practicality of the code of conduct, what it would actually achieve? How will it achieve? And yeah, if you could just elaborate on that, that would be great.
First, I think countries are appreciative that China is open to a code of conduct. You must remember that China believes that the entire seas around it are theirs. Hence, they want to control it. The fact alone that it's opening itself to have a code of conduct where you will be observing certain rules that will be useful in preventing conflicts is good enough as far as I'm concerned. Like, there should be innocent passage. There should be freedom of navigation and flying over the seas. That alone, I think, should tell us that even if China claims to be the owner invoking historical rights, the fact is, I think it recognizes the fact that if it does not agree to a code of conduct, then there will be turmoil in this region. There will be conflicts, there will be fighting. And I don't think China would want that.
May I follow up with one more?
Yes.
You mentioned about not being a pawn to any particular country. And Duterte's statement earlier kind of showed the same thing, that they shouldn't have to choose between the U.S. and China specifically. I wonder if those statements are triggered by a particular incident, or if you could perhaps elaborate on how the U.S. or China might be pushing countries one way or the other.
Well, I do not know exactly what the U.S. want in this part of the region. While it's trying to contain the movement of China with respect to navigation, I cannot even understand, like what the president said, when they were starting to build structures there, they did not stop China. And it's only now that they're doing it, but it's too late.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. Akihiko of Asahi Shimbun.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
On South China Sea issue, could you
Yes.
share with us the reaction of Vietnam during that discussion, if you could?
As I said earlier, all of them are in accord that there should be rules to follow, that the UNCLOS should be observed, that there should be restraint on those countries surrounding the region. I think every country would want to have a peaceful and stabilized region for obvious reason. It's for everybody's interest.
Okay?
Sorry, one more thing. So next year, the chairmanship will be handed out to Vietnam.
Yes.
What do you expect the chairmanship of Vietnam would affect the discussion of the South China Sea issue?
That would be highly speculative on my part. I don't think I would go into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akiko. Okay, Marlene Alcaide of TV5.
Hi sir, may specific po ba na sinabi si Pangulong Duterte kanina dun sa ASEAN Summit with China, for example, na gusto niyang isama dun sa COC, for example, yung sa maiwasan yung mga standoff?
Hindi. As I said earlier, parehong sinasabi nila kanina. Kailangan palaging merong rules, i-observe mo yung UNCLOS, kailangan i-avoid lahat ng mga galaw, mga activities that will trigger any conflict or aggravate present conflict. Wala naman siyang specific na sinasabi.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Marlene. Next question. Bernadette Nicolas of Business Mirror.
Sir, may we know the official palace reaction to the newest incident in the Scarborough Shoal, the Green Aura incident, sir? The alleged harassment of the Green Aura, sir.
Are you referring to the captain of that ship?
Yes, sir.
I understand from Foreign Secretary Locsin, it's not the Filipino ship. It's a foreign vessel, only manned by a Filipino captain.
Yes, it's a Liberian ship, sir.
Yes.
With the Philippines. But sir, Secretary Lorenzana said in a statement that, wait lang, sir. Said in a statement that the Chinese government must respect international maritime laws if it wants to earn the respect of the international community. Do you agree with his statement, sir?
I agree. And I think China should agree.
Okay.
Because China itself says that we should respect international law.
Okay. So since this incident is not considered as an affront to the country's sovereignty, we will not file a diplomatic protest in this incident.
In a way, it does not concern us because it's not a Philippine vessel.
Okay. So that has been verified, sir, a final statement from the national government that it's not something, it's not an insult to the country's sovereignty.
Well, it's not a Philippine vessel.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Next question, Ma'am Edith Regalado of Philippine Star.
Sir, I just would like to ask you about what's happening in the Philippines right now, because there's an order by Lorenzana, being the one in charge of the relief distribution for the quake, that he came out with a memo asking for accreditation of all those donors and all those. It's a tedious and long process to be, mag-aano ka pa, accredit and everything. And the situation is this. The victims need help ASAP. So, is Malacanang going to do something about this? Maybe amend the memo that what is this, Lorenzana came up with, because it is asking basically each of those donors to pass through the checkpoints and everything. But my God, it's a big area that has been devastated by the series of earthquakes.
I think Secretary Lorenzana has only orderly process in mind. But we will
Malacanang look into it.
we'll try to see what we can do. But I suppose those who would want to help, to donate, we should not stop them. We can perhaps, there should be a procedure by which what Secretary Lorenzana would want can be achieved without derailing or preventing or stopping people who want to help in other countries.
Yeah. Who should we call as legitimate donors, and who should we call as illegitimate donors?
I cannot understand why there should be an illegitimate donor. When
Because
you
that's
donate
what-
something, then you're welcome.
But that's not the way Lorenzana makes it sound.
No, I think what the secretary wants is that there should be order. And specifically or especially because he is the one accountable for the donations. You must remember he is the chief. So he have to account for all this.
But accountability and order could be done by the donors reporting to the local government unit itself, saying that they're going to donate this much, and then just define or point out where the areas they could give out the donation or the aid, not necessarily asking them to, could it be done that way?
We will forward your suggestion to Secretary Lorenzana. I think that can be streamlined.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Edith. Gisette of Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
If you would allow me to go back to the Green Aura issue lang po,
What?
To the Green Aura issue, the
Green
crude-
Aura?
Green Aura, the tanker, sir, that was manned by a
yung
Filipino
Aura.
crew. Yeah, Aura. Yes, sir. Sir, because I was reading the transcript of the conversation between the supposed Chinese Coast Guard and the Philippine captain. And the Chinese Coast Guard allegedly said that, or told the vessel crew that they are moving within the jurisdiction of the Chinese government, but they are within the area of the Scarborough Shoal. And we understand, sir, that we consider Scarborough Shoal as part of our national territory since it is within our EEZ. On that note, sir, even if we're considering that it's not a Philippine vessel, do we still see it as a matter of concern for the Philippines, considering that the Chinese ship is alleging that it is part of their jurisdiction?
Well, for as long as they do not touch the Philippine ship or vessel, it will be the concern of that country that carries the flag of that particular vessel.
Sir, but we do not see this marrying or having any impact on the talks on the negotiations of the Code of Conduct, sir.
Whether what?
Oh, we don't see this affecting in any way the negotiations on the Code of Conduct, sir.
I don't think so.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Gisette. Marlene Alcaide of TV5.
Hi, sir. Pahabol lang po na
Yes.
tanong. Sir, yung other matter naman po, yung nangyari lang po kagabi na pagbibigay ng jersey kay Pangulong Duterte kasi ginawa ng issue online.
I already issued a statement on
Yes,
that.
sir.
Apparently, this rambunctious political opposition will not stop at anything. Every opportunity presented to it, it will use to put the president in a bad light. But no matter what they do, every time they throw mud at this president, the more acceptable this president becomes, the more appreciated by the people of what he does. So they can always keep on trying and keep on failing. As I call them, they are incorrigible whiners and nitpickers. But
Okay.
we're used to that.
Okay, Jim Gomez of AP.
Sir, good afternoon.
Right.
So what does ASEAN, or particularly the Philippines, think of the fact that President Trump is not attending this summit when it's the highest level, broadest, most important of several ASEAN meetings this year?
Well, we all know for a fact that Mr. Trump is trying to survive there. There is an impeachment going on process. So maybe that's the reason why he did not come. But it doesn't mean that he is not concerned with what is happening in this region.
And secondly, sir, the Reed Bank incident last June was quite jarring. 22 Filipinos nearly lost their lives. Did the Philippines push for the inclusion of that incident in the communique that the ASEAN leaders would issue later today? And did the President raise this incident during the ASEAN-China meeting?
That was not raised there, but I will leave that to the Foreign Secretary.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Next question, Philip of Bloomberg, then Vivienne of ABS-CBN.
Hi again. I just wanted there's been a theme in the last couple of days about, unifying ASEAN in a way that would leverage the regional interests in international forums, speaking with one voice. And it just seems to me with the South China Sea issue that the various countries of ASEAN are certainly not that. So, I wonder, again, with Vietnam taking the chairmanship next year, do you believe that the region will eventually come to speak with one voice on the South China Sea issue, whether all the 10 countries would be able to come together and then have a shared perspective on it and the issue? Thank you.
I think so. Eventually, all the countries will have one voice. The way they sound today, all of them are in accord that they should be united, that they should cooperate with each other for their own sake.
I guess what I mean is, a country like Cambodia, for example, wouldn't allow for a joint statement on the matter a few years back. And, will there ever be a time when ASEAN as a body would be able to do such a thing?
Remember, there was this common statement read by President Duterte, and all of them say the same thing. If that's a common statement, that means everyone agreed to whatever remarks that the president of our country crafted.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Last question, Ms. Vivienne Gulia of ABS-CBN. Okay.
Hi, Secretary Panelo, Vivian from
Hi.
ABS-CBN. I would like to ask, because I read earlier from a statement from PND that the President raised the militarization of South China Sea during the ASEAN-China summit earlier today, and also called for self-restraint. How did China react to that?
Again, as I already responded to that, the same policy that he has, or it has repeatedly said many times over, that it respects international law, it respects the UNCLOS. It's the same.
How did China react to that?
If you mean reacting, making a statement,
Yes,
it
yes,
did
yes.
not.
It didn't make a statement. Did the President also raise the arbitral ruling during the
No.
summit?
Thank you, Vivienne. Okay, last question na talaga, sir. Sorry. Ian Cruz of GMA7.
Sir, regarding the series of earthquakes in the Philippines.
The what?
The series of earthquakes in the Philippines. Have we received, are we going to receive more foreign aids especially from ASEAN countries?
Every time there is a calamity, countries, as a practice, help. So hopefully we will be receiving more aids from other countries.
No more? Thank you, Ian. Okay. That concludes our
Thank
press
you, ladies
briefing
and gentlemen.
with Secretary Panelo. Thank you, Sec. And thank you to all our friends from the media.